All right. So we're here to talk about a recap of the LVO. So I guess to start with, I mean, we traveled to Las Vegas and, you know, pimps, hoes, tricks, and rows.
You're not far off.
No, but so we participated in the 40K championship event. It was our first time attending, and we did not go with necessarily any aspirations of winning. Didn't go for the gold, but we definitely had a lot of fun. So I guess we'll just start with, like, what was your experience? How did you feel about it?
Well, I had the aspiration to win one game. So
That's true.
that was the goal. And after you win four in a row, they start matching you up a little easier. After you lose four in a row.
Yeah, lose 4 in a row. Yeah, totally.
So yeah, it was awesome. It was fun just to be somewhere that had that many people all playing 40K all at once. I mean, they said what, it was 400 people in the champs?
Yeah, I think there was like 500 that registered, and then 400 that actually showed up, which, like, normal attrition, like, that's totally normal and stuff. But
all the narrative guys
yeah.
and the friendly. Yeah, it was crazy.
No, it was super crazy. Yeah, that was a lot of people in one room. And then they had another, like, hall that was dedicated to the narrative and then the other gaming and stuff, but that was completely filled with gaming as well. But the championship, that was, I think, one hall. I think that was it that was in there, and it filled the room up. It was pretty crazy.
Sigmar was in the one
oh, that's true.
side of it, but it was kind of separate.
Yeah, Sigmar was in there too. That's right. But no, that was a blast. I was definitely impressed by how smoothly it went, and it was a lot of fun. Definitely, as our first time going, for me, anyways. It definitely inspired me to think about going to some other ones and maybe even going back there if I am able to get out. But
I will say I'm impressed with the fortitude of some of those players that went and then played the RTTs on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, that's so much 40K.
That's a lot of Warhammer 40K. Yeah, we got there a day early and we checked in, which was really cool because we got to go high rollers. I mean, the first time you're going, you got to be high roller in Vegas. So that was, like, mind-blowing, and I will post a picture of, like, the stuff that was in the high roller package, which I did not expect. I expected a free t-shirt and, like, maybe some cool, like objective markers or something like that. Little did I know that we'd have, like, a starter set to, like, 3 different games, an entire rule book, like, hardcover to Wrath of Kings. That was pretty impressive. I mean, like, we met Reese there, and we jokingly said, one, we appreciated all the free stuff they were giving us in that package, but we could tell that it was a marketing ploy to actually just get us into some new game systems so that we'd be spending more money in their store. So
yeah, I was shocked too. He said he figured there was close to like $400 worth of stuff in those.
Easily, yeah. I think probably retail, probably like nearly 500 or so. I mean, it was pretty impressive. I was definitely happy about that stuff. Although it definitely made me think about what I could purchase the rest of the weekend, considering sort of the limited space I had in my bag. So,
oh yeah, definitely.
Which I'm not sure if I told you, but I got home and opened the bag up and then saw the big old piece of paper saying that TSA had inspected it. So I'm sure.
I had the same thing.
Yeah,
I had the exact same thing.
Which, I guess kind of as part of the story going there, heading back from the airport, we were definitely stopped by TSA, and they pulled our bags and searched through all our miniatures because, of course, all of those scything talons on my gene sealers probably looked like weapons. So
yeah, I think I was manhandling my stuff.
Yeah, he was definitely manhandling
Pulled
stuff.
it all out.
That's right, yeah. But no, so as far as, like, the tournament goes, though, the actual gameplay during the champs, I was really impressed by the Best Coast Pairings app. I will say there was a little snafu at the very beginning, which it's interesting. I've heard people talk about it thus far. I'm not sure if it had actually happened to them, though, because people said that, it was because the system was overloaded or it was because people didn't check in. And we were actually a couple of the people that didn't get paired initially. And what happened, we had actually checked in the night before, and I believe that was actually the case with the other people that were standing around. So we had checked in on Thursday, And I think for whatever reason, it didn't cross over to the following day, the Friday when it started. And so when everyone was getting paired up, for whatever reason, we were actually not in the system. We were, I don't know what, we checked in the day before though with the best
Yeah.
ghost pairing people. So then they checked us in, the frontline people and I think best ghost pairing people checked us in again, and it still actually didn't pair us. So what they did is they just kind of grabbed, two people standing near each other and put us on a table. And then while we were playing, I think they entered us in officially, because from there on it ran pretty smoothly the rest of the
I
weekend.
actually didn't get matched for my second game either, though.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
There's a number of us that still didn't get matched. But how did that work out for you, getting matched with somebody random for the first game, Jeff?
I think, the first game anyways, it's totally random. So it doesn't, matter all that much. But, and it was good too. Like, it didn't take off too much time or anything. It was all good. And I think it was the first time they had 400 people getting paired at any one time. And then I imagine there was probably a lot of people not even there that was just looking at the app trying to see who was getting matched where, to overload that system. Because I heard it happened, I think, in the sixth game as well too, where there's more on the line, so probably more people checking. But yeah, no. So we got paired, totally randomly with whoever was left over. And again, that's totally normal. It's the first game; you're going to get paired randomly. But it was funny because I definitely got, as a new person to the big tournament scene, got paired with someone's top 20 in the country or something, and top 5 in the country, I guess, in the ITC or whatever. And so, but it was really nice, and it was a good game anyways, just as a learning experience. Because really, that's my only way of playing someone that tier, anyways. To randomly get paired with them in the first round. And so, I mean, it was a good experience just to sort of see what the level of play looks like up there. And definitely it was a quick game. I definitely did not make it that far, but I learned from it. It was funny afterwards too. The guy was nice and he's like, if this wasn't, the LVO championships, I would have told you to do these things, and so that was really cool that he was at least nice enough to kind of give me some pointers for the next games that I played. But yeah,
that was the most impressive thing for me in the tournament was everybody I played was just super nice, super chill, especially after you lose a couple in a row and you start playing guys that have lost a couple in a row.
Right.
But everybody, even when I first started playing, and that guy, he finished really high up, but yeah, he was really cool about it too. Everybody was real friendly.
Yeah.
Nice. No one was, you didn't feel like, nobody was being that guy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I was really impressed. I mean, I figured, playing 6 games across 2 days, there was probably going to be a good chance that you're going to pair up with someone that, is maybe a sore loser or takes the game maybe a little too seriously. And that didn't happen for me at all. I was really surprised by that. Everyone I played with was just super nice. And I think what was really impressive to me too is after you lose a couple of games, that you immediately start getting paired up with people that are pretty close to your skill level. And going to such a big event with so much on the line, I was expecting people to be more critical about how you're playing and just the judge might be called over every second. It didn't happen at all. I think a couple of the issues we ran into, I think we rolled off. We'd ask a judge if they were around, but aside from that, my opponents were just super nice, and it was actually really neat. Yeah, they were just really chill and easy to go along with. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to the judges a few times, but it was never over anything contentious.
Yeah.
It was just oh yeah, I don't know, let's ask a judge. Everybody was like I said, everybody was super cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as the games went, I guess we talk a little about that. We're not going to go into detail of every single game we played, but just to let you know what we took and then sort of how they played and what we saw there actually. So as you guys probably know, if you're watching to see who won the LVO and stuff, I believe it was Renegades that actually won. I know it was Dark Angels Renegades in that last game, and it was really close. I think it was 5 to 6 or something. 4 to 5 is what it came down to. But as far as what was there, first of all, I was some things I was not surprised about. Some things I was actually pretty surprised about. For one, I was surprised that we didn't see a lot of the battle company, dimming company. I didn't play any of.
See Space Marines.
Yeah, I didn't see any full on Space Marine lists. I mean, they were there clearly by the numbers, but I think they were hidden within allied detachments. Because I played I actually had a variety of games. I only played one army twice, which we'll get to that. But aside from that, I played a different army every game, which was really impressive. But on the tables, you really didn't see, like, I was expecting mass tanks or mass drop pods. Didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same experience. I got to play different army like every game, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, with the exception of multiple riptides.
So that was the other thing, right? So that was the big thing that seemed really noticeable was like, man, Riptide Wing everywhere. I mean, just a lot of Riptide Wing on the tables. Some people I think try to theme them after the rest of the armies that they were throwing them in with, like Blood Angels or whatever, or demons or who knows what. I mean, it was pretty crazy, but yeah, Riptides were
right. Yeah, I played against one guy that had them all chaosed up.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Sure.
they definitely look cool, but yeah, they were definitely still just Tau Riptides and pretty destructive. That was for sure. So as far as what I took, I took a similar list to what I've been playing in some of our games, which was Genestealer Cult. I love playing Tyranids. Genestealers kind of gave me some hope for a little bit more competitive play, and so I took a Genestealer Cult list. And again, didn't expect it to be super competitive, but was something that I had gotten pretty familiar with, so I felt comfortable taking. The list I took was like 2 CADs and then the first curse formation. And right off the bat, I know that's not the most competitive way of taking them. In fact, probably taking their Insurrection detachment, which is their Decurion style formation, which allows them to jump off the table and respawn when they come back on. And then it also includes a formation, I think it's the Subterranean Uprising, where they get to roll multiple dice for the Cult Ambush table. That's definitely a better way to take them. But for me, going to a big tournament, I felt like that would have been really confusing, just to try to manage like what was off the table and could come back on and respawn, and which units were able to use 2 or 3 dice, to do the Cult Ambush table. Again, all those things are maybe not necessarily like, oh, that doesn't seem like that'd be too hard. But when you're in a big tournament environment and you like have only a chair to put your stuff on, or which by the way, one of the cool things that I saw were people actually like wheeling carts. Like I'm like, okay, that's maybe the way to to go do a tournament, is like they had carts that they were just wheeling around with their armies and stuff, except for that poor one guy that like tripped on himself and the cart exploded everywhere and like a Forge World Night Titan exploded. But that was a bummer.
Oops.
Yeah. Yeah, so I took something that would be a little more familiar to me and easy to manage, and it definitely was. It was far more easy to manage playing, and they still got to do their tricks with the Cult Ambush and all that kind of stuff. And the one thing that I did notice playing them was, after I had lost, I think it was the first 2 games, again, I started paring down to people that were closer to my level. And I definitely had more closer games beyond that point. In fact, was able to win, and but nothing seemed like super out of reach. I didn't get like tabled, which I will say the first game I got tabled, and it was quick. But that was that was me learning all about what demons can do. You see demons and you think, oh, they're going to spawn a million pink horrors or different things like that. And this one was it was ran just entirely different. And yeah, it was a learning curve for myself. But anyways, yeah. So the Genestealer Cult, I felt like they fared decently, but definitely their weaknesses. First off, like Purge the Alien. Oh man, I played Purge the Alien against a Tau list. I called it on, I think, like turn 3, just because like there was no point. I mean, I could hide the Genestealers, but was essentially giving the guy a kill point every turn, and then even going for Maelstroms, it was really difficult. So that was rough. So the Genestealers, I mean, they're such small units and they're so squishy that they give off kill points just real easily. The Cult Ambush table is great, but again, it's kind of one of those unreliable things, and particularly when you're only rolling 1 dice for them. I frequently rolled like 1s and 2s, which is not, you get to pop up anywhere on the board. So getting Maelstroms became difficult. The games that they were on, though, they definitely did very well, particularly having objective secured. I played a couple lists where, the opponent didn't have objective secured, and there was just nothing that they could do to counter that. And so just popping up everywhere across the board, popping off, particularly like slow armies, if they were slow and it was like hammer and anvil deployment, they really struggled because they'd have to march all the way right down the table. And by the time they got there, Genestealers were gone. So it was a fun army. I don't think Genestealers did all that super well in the tournament. I mean, there was only, I think, 11 armies there. I know that there were a couple people that went up to the top tables with them. But I think that they were paired with Imperial Guard, if I remember correctly. So it wasn't just like a pure Genestealer cult army. They had them paired. It's probably a better way to run it anyways. But anyways, yeah, it was a fun army. I'll definitely still keep playing them, but I'm going to probably branch out a little bit too. So anyways, what were your games? And you can tell me what you took and then sort of what resulted in the end between you and I. So
Yeah, so I mean, I took the army. I mean, if you guys watch the channel, you've probably seen the Death Guard list a few times, and that's basically what I took. Where I'm still insisting on squeezing in 2 knights, and then I took the new Death Guard formation that the new Chaos book has, which is really good. And looking back at it, I probably should have doubled down more on that instead of trying to squeeze the knights in. I don't know, because the Knights did a lot of damage, but in most of my games, they were dead turn 2. Like, maybe they got a couple good kills in, but yeah, like I said, I lost my first 4 games, so they weren't that good. Again, though, kind of like you, like I felt like I was in every game, where like it was really close, but then on this turn or this critical roll, this went that way, and boom, you lost 1 to 11,
Right, yeah.
2 to 10 or something like that. But yeah, it probably wasn't the most competitive, and it feels like a pretty solid take all comers list. Mm-hmm. And like I said, it was kind of close, but by the time I lost 4 in a row, then I started getting some easier matchups. I think I had to play Tau and War Convocation for my Hammer and Anvil deployment games, and those 2 are brutal. Like I say, I'd never played against War Convocation before. And them just being able to ignore line of sight, me trying to hide stuff, and I was trying to just hide in the backfield and hold my little maelstrom objectives, and he says, no, I see you there. I see you through this building, those 2 rock formations, and that other building.
Right.
So that was pretty brutal. I was really like kind of blown away by some of the lists that were out there. Like they were all just super powerful.
Oh yeah. For sure.
Everything, I mean, came to play, whether that was the 6 Riptide Tau list, the War Convocation. I played an Eldar and Scath Thatch Wraith Knight, which, like, dude, the jet bikes and all the warp spiders. Warp spiders are rough on your knight because you say, oh, I'm going to put my shield in the front. He just gives in, which side's your shield on? So I know, which side to battle focus and jump to take out your knight, which he did. Took him out really easily.
Right.
It's funny because everybody was super cool, but their lists were not.
Right.
Their lists were hardcore. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Like even though they were hardcore, I felt like I had a chance. Like it wasn't like no chance. I mean, still a game of dice, and I was surprised, and I probably shouldn't be, but I was surprised at what a big deal how well you roll on Maelstrom is.
Oh yeah, it totally is. Yeah.
Because that was huge. In the couple games I won, I rolled my Maelstroms like really, really well. I got a lot of those. The games I lost, I did okay, or maybe you fell behind. And the thing with Maelstrom is too, once you fall behind enough, you have to just give it up and try to focus on doing the Warlord and getting Linebreaker and just trying to squeeze a few points out of it.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there. I mean, it's interesting. This kind of comes back to something else I was thinking about the tournament that's talked about a lot, which is the time limits. So I think it was like a 2.5 hour or something around there, like time limit per round. I think it was 2.5 or 2 hours and 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah.
It was, I felt like it was okay time. But at that said, it's because all my games finished, but they didn't necessarily finish naturally. I would say probably half the games we ended up like calling at some point, and then just sort of figuring out based on where we were at, sort of what was likely going to happen in the next 2 turns if they were to continue to go on. And that was totally cool. It wasn't like a contentious thing. It was something that me and my opponent just agreed to because we'd have like we might even have like 30 minutes left or something, and it wasn't necessarily like, they're calling time on us or anything, but rather it was clear the game was going in a certain direction, and there was probably no recovery for one of us at that point, and so we just decided, okay, let's call it and hear how the sort of the points will break up, based on where we're at right now, and that was cool. But I could definitely tell, like, if you were playing top tables and stuff, like some of those people were playing super meticulous, measuring every little inch. I watched the third day, watching the finals and stuff. I think the final match might have gotten to like the third turn or something. So I can definitely see where they're talking about. Like the time thing is definitely a real component, particularly in the championships, when people are being so meticulous and there are so many models that people are moving around.
That's the kicker, right? Because all the top lists right now are doing summoning, or they're taking the Bark Star, or
right.
they have just butt tons of little models on the board.
Right. Yeah.
And a huge part of that is because all these armies get essentially free points, whether that's through summoning or free vehicles or whatever it is. They're bringing more models than what you would expect to see at 1850.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, like, I definitely am someone that votes for like, yeah, let's drop it to like 1500 or something, just because I'd love to see games like actually go to conclusion. I mean, again, ours did, but not naturally on half of them. It was just because we saw where it was going, and we're like, rather than trying to cram 2 more turns in 15 minutes apart, let's just call it and sort of figure out where we're at right now. But yeah, no, my games were a lot of fun. Sounds like your games were, a lot of fun. You play with some good people.
Yeah.
And, it's funny for us going to a tournament. This is like crazy. It's like, what are the odds? We play each other, the most as far as of the people we play. You and I play each other the most. And just to, we take 2 different armies, and, the odds that, how we each play individually through this tournament, that's like 400 people. And when you play, you're developing points, right? Each round, like, every point you get puts you into a different bracket. So it's like both on wins and losses, as well as the points you are in like with those. So like if you're tied, 0-2 with someone, then they're going to go on points, like which one is above the other. And that's like, how many points you score in each round.
It was almost based more on points because so many people had the same record. A lot of people were 2-2 or 1-3.
Right. So then it goes with points in there.
Did you get the Warlord? Did you get a Linebreaker? How many exact number of points
did you
have?
I was just going to say
it. Out by turn, what was that? At the end of turn 5, we had the exact same amount of points.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
There was 2 other people?
Yeah, so I was going to say, after game 5, you and I had the same record. The exact same, out of 400 people, we had the exact same record. So we were tied for the place that we were in with 2 other people too. So 2 other people had the same exact score and win-loss ratio that you and I had. And so we're like, I wonder, like, what are the odds, like, that our game 6, that they're actually going to pair us, And sure enough, game 6, you and I got paired, and so it was kind of like I don't know, it was both good and bad, but it was good in the sense that like it was game 6. You and I were tired. I mean, we had played 2 games. Yeah, 2 games the day prior. So this was actually like our game. I don't know it was. Our game 8. It was our 8th game in like the last 48 hours. It seemed like. And you and I were tired. We were kind of beat. We were actually jokingly like kind of hoping that our counterparts might have dropped out, so we could just take like an auto win or something.
Yeah, right.
So going into that 6th game, it was nice just because like it was gonna be a relaxed match. Like you and I had played like a bunch of times before, same armies. There was gonna be no questions. Like we knew what we were doing. It was gonna be nice and relaxed. It totally was. But then it was like a bummer because it was like someone's gonna take another loss. One of us is gonna take another loss here. And of course it was me. I conceded and just right now just kidding. I definitely lost, but it was a fun
that was one of those games I was talking about. It was just like how did we roll Maelstrom, because you had 2 Maelstrom objectives on your side of the table. I had 2 on my side. And luckily for me, I kept rolling mine.
Right. So it was that was a closer game for sure, and it's one of those things where the Maelstroms were definitely helping you a bunch, but it was close. It was really close. Actually, we were both maxing out Maelstrom for like the first half of the game, but then eventually I fell away and you were able to take that no problem. But yeah, it it was pretty fun. It was a nice way to kind of end the tournament and stuff, and made for a real good event. So just a curiosity, like what was like I don't know one funny thing that happened? Can you think of a funny thing that happened while
Besides
you're?
that guy dumping his army all my feet.
Oh, that wasn't funny. That was like painful to watch. While you think of it, I'll tell you one that I guess was funny to me and like ironic that happened because it totally happens. Like it was bound to happen. So the whole tournament that I've been playing, I had not I had not rolled a six for my warlord trait at all, meaning like, which is like, okay, that's the odds. It's not necessarily going to happen. But the six is that you get to pick what you want on the cold ambush table, which is awesome. And up until then, I had not rolled it like any sixes. So no one was doing any of that fun first turn charging. Like, I kept going up against people and they're like, we keep hearing how nasty like Gene Stealer Cult is. And yet I'm like hiding in the back corner because everyone's rolling ones and twos and coming on totally randomly. But anyway, so I get up against a guy that actually was playing like your army. It was the what is it? Death Guard. It was a Death Guard army, but he was playing zombies, which zombies were ridiculous because they respawn and stuff. And anyway, so I finally roll the frickin' six on the Warlord trait, so my first curse formation gets the first turn charge. I also get first turn, and then I also roll a six for my other 20-man Gene Stealer unit, so they also get a first turn charge. So I got 40 Gene Stealers and my Warlord getting a first turn charge on this guy's essentially zombie army that he's just laid out in front of me, like totally laid out. So I'm like, sweet, I could almost table him first turn. I'm gonna line up and just charge his army and lock him in combat, and he's done. I can collect Maelstrom on the side while we're doing battle throughout the rest of the game. It'll all be good. So I line everything up. And I'm good to go. Got these two units right out in front of his zombies, and of course he gets to roll a seize. And sure enough, of course he seizes. So the one time in the whole freaking event that I get like the first turn charges, and I could have tabled the guy almost like first turn, he seizes on me, and then it was bad. It was done. He was able to actually flame a lot of the Gene Stealers because I had lined them up right in front of his units, right? So he had just a ton of flamers, and so he took out almost both those units immediately. It actually ended up being a kind of close game throughout the actual game itself because his units were pretty squishy. They were, they tied me up and stuff, but I was able to take him out. But he just out Maelstromed me, and that was kind of the game. But anyways, that was a funny moment. It also kind of sucked. So anyways,
didn't basically the same thing happen to you in your first game too?
The first game was pretty bad. I think the first game, again, I was playing a demon player, again, very good player, and I saw his demons, and I was expecting something very different than what he actually did. I didn't realize how much firepower they can actually distribute, particularly like first turn like that, just through psychic abilities. And so what happened, and this was just totally my bad, is I put my Gene Stealer units out. They infiltrated, and I had another unit out that was a like Acolyte unit or something like that. And I typically kind of null deployed because I had two CADs of Gene Stealer Colt. So they don't have infiltrate, so they have to come in through reserves on turn 2 through cold ambush. So I had a lot, like 75% of my army was in reserves, which I had been doing prior to that. It was all good. But yeah, that first turn, he seized on me. I didn't have a 6 or anything like that. I was just getting to go first turn. And I was not expecting this. He had like all these demons come up, and they just, through their psychic abilities, did a ton of like blasts. They put Soul Blaze on my units, and then they just it came down to, actually I think it was one Gene Stealer. By the end of like turn one Gene Stealer, and he had Soul Blaze on him, and then he failed his save, and then that was it. I mean, the guy killed, I think, like, he killed 40 Gene Stealers, a Warlord, and then like a unit of Acolytes with his demons. First turn, I was not expecting that. I was not prepared for that, which was, again, it was a good learning curve. On my own, I would not be able to probably play against someone necessarily of that like talent level, just through a win. So again, it was like a good, like, okay, these are what the cutthroat lists look like, and when someone plays like this, he ended up doing really well in the tournament. But I think losing out in a couple of games, so didn't make it to day 3. But I think like easily was over the top 100. But yeah. So did you have like a funny story that happened to you?
No, not really. I mean, a number of times having those knights in there when they go down, it's kind of funny to see how much stuff they kill. They almost kill more when they die than when they're alive.
We
I
were
know that happened in our game. They
yeah.
took out all 10 aberrants and
Oh, that's like a
like two
given.
different squads.
That's the one sucky thing about those gene stealers. I mean, like a unit of them, yeah, man. They'll first turn charge a knight and take him out. You know, they can take him out, but then you go nuclear and then they're gone. You know, so it's like you're guaranteed to pretty much give them up. Didn't you say that happened in one of your games that like a knight blew up and then another knight blew up or something and like
But it wasn't. It was one of my practice games for the tournament. It was not at the tournament. It was against Jameson, but that was hilarious. His like Wraith Knight came up to like charge one of my knights because they were both next to each other. He blows up one of the knights, and then that template blows up the other knight, which then kills the Wraith Knight. it was awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, we were joking that like the knights need some kind of like for their Overwatch, instead of like getting Overwatch itself, should just have like a self-destruct mechanism. Like, you know, like we joke, like the Aberrants or Gene Stealers charge you, you're like, you know what, they're going to take me out. I'm done. I'm going to de-blast everybody right now. Like, you know, the pilot ejects or something. Like, that's what they need. No, it was
my game
good.
3. I don't know if it was funny, but my opponent like could not stop apologizing. It was like the end, top of turn 3 before I made my first save. That was pretty brutal.
Oh, man.
I don't know. Yeah, I was because like with the army that I take, like I pretty much always get, if I'm not getting my armor save, I'm getting feel no pains, and then I'm getting to reroll ones. And it just didn't matter. Like I made nothing. It was epic.
Yeah. Oh, that's the way it goes. It was good. I have to say, like as a overall recap of it, like it was really surprising to me. I definitely did not know exactly what to expect going to a tournament this size, but I was super impressed by like just how like classy everybody was, how friendly everyone was, and then of course you see like all these people that are in the hobby that are, you know, doing YouTube or podcasts and things like that, and they're just all walking around talking to other people too, getting to know you and stuff, and it's pretty cool. And of course like Forge World, Games Workshop, all of those guys were there too, you know, saying hi, running the events, things like that. So that was pretty cool. But yeah,
it was really fun just getting to see the faces of people that you know, at least that I watch all the time.
Yeah, totally.
Their YouTube channels, you know, Mini Wargaming was there. Of course, the Frontline Gaming guys and some of the Long War guys and stuff. Yeah, it was cool just to see everybody.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. But anyways, and then of course the one bad thing coming home from like travel like that, it's like guaranteed with me is Nurgle blessed me with a nice sinus infection, so I'm like sniffling and coughing and stuff, and you know, spewing up green stuff from Nurgle's garden. So anyways, but anyways, yeah, man, it was a lot of fun. Do you think you're gonna go back again?
Maybe. I probably wouldn't. It's a big time commitment.
Totally, yeah.
that was yeah. I mean, it ends up being like 4 days that they have to take for it.
Yeah. It's definitely a time commitment. I definitely think it was worth it. I mean, it was a lot of fun.
It was,
but no, I agree. It's a lot, but definitely something I'd consider. It is tough to think about like if I was to go again. Would I do like the narrative or would I do the friendly? Because like the narrative, like I'll post pictures of this, but like their tables were freaking like awesome. Like they were pretty epic. I almost want to play War Machine just so I could like play on the tables that they had. They had some pretty awesome tables as well. Infinity probably had some of the coolest tables, all those like buildings and stuff. That was pretty awesome.
The tournament, I think it got me more pumped to play more of like the local tournaments and stuff.
Totally. Yeah.
Like, it was really fun at the end to, like, see your score get posted and then, like, to see that we actually, you know, you get posted on the ITC page and stuff. Right. And, I mean, the LVO is so big that with one game that we we're in the very bottom tier of, we still end up, like, halfway up the
right, because it's worth
list.
So many points. Yeah, that was really surprising to me is how far it launched us up, even with our record and score of how it was. It definitely helped us get up there, which was fun. Obviously, we didn't win anything, but it was it was cool to see that we were there. We made our mark. But anyways, man, well, thanks for chatting about the LVO, and it was a lot of fun getting to go with you. So let's do it again sometime. Yeah, awesome. If you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you're interested in more wargaming battle reports and videos, please hit subscribe.